It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Hey, Nico is the big vet.
That would be Sarge.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning into the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by, fueled by, powered by. I got that from somewhere. I can't use that ever again. Never. I can't use that no more. I can't. Texans Tailgate Talk. Make sure you subscribe to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube page. All one word, Texans Tailgate Talk. What's going on? Make sure you subscribe to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast, available wherever you get your podcast from, and to the Texans Tailgate YouTube page. Look, before I finish my introduction, let me just say this. Let me just take the time and say this. Stop and say this. So, I look at the views on my videos on the Texans Tailgate page. And I look at the amount of subscribers on the page. And when you look at it, like, it probably would discourage some people. But to me, and let me make sure I got this right. To me, and if I wish my wife was here right now so she could, back me up on this. Y'all, every time I get a new view, every time I get a new subscriber, every time I get someone else to just take their time out of their day or night, whatever the case may be, but whenever anybody takes the time to view my work, right, to view my content, like, that makes me the happiest person in the world. Like, I don't care if I get 500,000 views, if I get 500 views, if I get 5 views. Listen, let me tell you all something. When I look at those numbers, I don't care. I'll be like, oh man, look, another person has viewed my content. Another person has subscribed to the channel. So, hey, look, I'm grateful and appreciative because I told you all on numerous occasions that time is the most important possession. Time is the most important possession that a human being has, and it's something that they'll never be able to get back. So if someone takes their time to give you their time, be appreciative of it. Be happy. Be happy for it. I'm happy for it. So I'm happy for every subscriber that I have on the Texans Tailgate Talk channel. I'm happy. Hold on one second. First of all, let me say what's up, J Rock. What's up, Romanus? So yeah, so Sideline Sarah says, is there any way you can go live on the Texans Tailgate Talk? Yeah, I'm on and connected to your socials when you go live. Yeah, I'm on there right now. Like, I'm on the Texans Tailgate. If you go to YouTube and go to the Texans Tailgate Talk page, I'm streaming live from there. And starting next week, I won't be streaming from anywhere but the Texans Tailgate Talk page. Well, let me take that back. No. Starting training camp, I won't be what's up, Jamisha? Starting training camp, I will be exclusively only streaming live from the Texas Tailgate Talk channel. Texas Tailgate Talk channel on YouTube. So yeah, that's going to be the only channel starting training camp. Excuse me. And I'm talking about, that's the exclusive stuff too, from especially during the preseason, during training camp preseason. And I just booked travel. Well, my wife just booked my travel. Thank you. My wife is my manager. She is the CFO of the Big Sarge Media LLC. She takes care of everything for me on the back end. And so she just booked my travel to Detroit when the Texans go to play. I'm sorry, when they go to Detroit. Yeah, to play their final preseason game against the. Oh shoot, my mic dropped against the against the Detroit Lions. Make sure I got this right, y'all. Give me a second. Against the Detroit Lions, they're gonna have that joint practice. So I will be in Detroit for that, and all that content will be only on the Texas Tailgate Talk channel on YouTube and exclusive to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast. And so, like I said, this year I want to make a concerted effort to make sure. This year I want to make a concerted effort to give the Texans fans out there. I've told you all on numerous occasions that I'm the eyes and the ears for you all who don't have the access and can't be there. And I'm even, that for some of these content creators. I told y'all I'm gonna start charging y'all gratuity. I'm gonna start saying, hey, can you answer this one question for me? But with that being said, welcome to the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Texans Tailgate Talk YouTube and podcast. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk. Thanks, Swish, for real. Basketball, I appreciate that. What's up, EJ? Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you'll follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because we do everything for the gram. And look, let me tell you all something. Because like nobody that I feel in this local market, and I have a lot of respect for a lot of people, but there ain't a lot of people that can outwork me. The only person that I feel that could outwork me in this market, as far as I'm talking about the media as a whole, the only person that could outwork me retired, and I don't think that he could outwork me. He just had a big head start, and that was Mark Berman. I used to tell Mark Berman all the time, hey, I'm the black Mark Berman. I'm the black Mark Berman. Because you had that head start, but everywhere Mark, well, not everywhere, because Mark had built up connections and he was places. But when it came to the Texans and the Rockets and the Astros at the time, if Mark was there, I was there. We was there together looking at each other. What's up, AD? Breaking news, the Jags are ass. Hey, I'm glad you said that. Hold on. So, yeah. So, starting next week, when we go back to next week, we still get a chance to go to voluntary OTAs. They're going to have the second week, and then after that, they're going to do the mandatory mini camp, and I'll be that. But I'm also getting back into writing. So, if you don't have an opportunity to listen to me on the podcast or to see the video on the YouTube channel, bigsargemedia.com I will start uploading articles again. I'm getting back into writing. And so my articles will be there. So throughout the entire season, like, listen, Texans fans who support me, I want you all to know that I'm out here grinding to make sure that I can give you all the best content there is. Yeah. If I got the access, then we like, hold on, wait, time out. Wait, hold on. I was about to say, if I got the access, we're going to share this, but I'm talking to fans only, not content creators or local media members. Like, we're not sharing my content, right? I'm only sharing this content and working hard for the fans. Not you content creators who, once again, you tune to the Texans Happy Hour. Hey, look, I got up there. I said that Nico is the big vet, right? Hold on. Let me put these on because I like to see the comments on the side. You see, I got up there that Nico is the big vet, and I'm gonna get to that in just a second. Whatever. I'm both. That's interesting, AD. You and I will definitely have to have a talk. But so before I get to talking about how Nico is the big vet, one of the things that I am going to do more of this season as well is to bring in other media members and content creators from other teams in the AFC South. I plan on doing once a week, having like an AFC South roundtable show. I haven't come up with a name just yet, and I got to get some people who's going to, commit to doing that. But I'm covering the AFC South as well, right? And so when I'm this the Buzz and Petty today. But so I'm reading these comments, right? I'm reading these comments and I'm looking at these videos of these people talking about rookie wide receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter, who was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there's a lot of people that are talking about you doing all this dancing, you need to be more focused. Don't bring that Colorado attitude here. Don't you need to be taking OTA serious. You don't need to be out there having fun. I mean, what the hell y'all talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Football is supposed to be fun. That's what it's supposed to be. You telling me you don't think that the Heisman Trophy winner is focused on playing football? That young man has been focused since he went to a HBCU to start his career at Jackson State University. That young man has been focused since he got to Colorado and played at Colorado, won the Heisman Trophy at Colorado, playing on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, playing wide receiver and cornerback, basically only coming off the field for special teams. And you're telling me that you don't think that one of the top 5 college football players from last season is coming in and being focused. I seen what you just said, AD, but I do believe that him getting married is going to help him and stabilize him. I heard some people call him a square. I heard some people call him goofy or this, that, and other. This young man said, all I really want to do is fish. We're talking about an athlete that we haven't seen in a very long time. I thought the correct answer when Denzel asked that question was 0 fun, sir. But you're looking at a young man who takes playing football very seriously, but he's still also a young man. And you can't compare him in the way that he does things to other people. He's not going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. is Brian Thomas Jr. Travis Hunter is Travis Hunter. But the bigger issue that I have with the Jacksonville Jaguar fans who are so upset about him, out there having fun during voluntary OTAs, tell me how being serious has worked for y'all in the past. Don't worry, I'll wait. You're by far one of the worst franchises in NFL history. When was the last time y'all really, really won something? And you're talking about, well, we don't want Travis Hunter to be like this. When I watched your owner use Tim Tebow for a money grab. Oh, yeah, let's bring him in. And, he's going to play. We know that he's played quarterback his entire career. Let's make him a tight end and sell his jersey. They had Tim Tebow jerseys in the team store for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Come on now. Are you effing kidding me? You can't be serious. You hired a coach who, after a game, decided to go to a bar and allegedly fill up a young lady. Oh, by the way, he was married, or maybe still is married. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars organization, and don't get me wrong, I understand there's going to be some Jaguar fans who are going to come back and say, yeah, but what about the Texans and Deshaun Watson? That's cool. You can say that. That's touche. But the Jacksonville Jaguars have been a horrible franchise for how long? I'm surprised that they're not the London Jaguars. I'm surprised they're not the London, aka Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm surprised that they haven't really sent. I'm surprised that they haven't sent the team from Jacksonville to London and made that their permanent home. And for the record, I know can that kid even roar? Hey, look, but for the record, I know there's going to be Jacksonville Jaguar fans that come at me. But before you come at me, right? Before you start with me, hey, start with your own, right? Y'all, listen, some of y'all are too young to remember this song. I forgot who sang it, who sung it rather, who wrote it. All I know is the lyrics with sweep around your own front door before you sweep around mine. Sweep around your own front door. Sweep around your own front door and get your own fans in line before you come at me and start shooting at me. You don't want Travis Hunter to have fun? What do you? Okay, hold on, time out. I got time before my wife gets home. Hold on, let me check my messages. She may have. Yep, she just sent me some. She tells me when she's leaving the office. I always say, "Okay, be safe." Hey, so I got a couple of minutes, Jacksonville Jaguar fans. Let me ask you a question. How has not having fun worked out for you? I'm listening. How has not having fun worked out for you? I've been covering the Texans for a very long time. I've been watching y'all. Don't get me wrong. You have had some success in your franchise's history. But let's just talk about the last 10 to 15 years. What I would think that you all would take advantage of is the fact that you have a young man like Travis Hunter in your organization, that you have a young man that wants to bring some excitement and some fun to your team. But you around here talking about leave that Colorado stuff where in Colorado, don't come here acting like Dion. Don't come here acting with all that foolishness. You need to learn from others. And I was like, this is damn ridiculous. That's crazier than some of these people. You know what? Don't do it, Sarge. You about to go have dinner with your wife. Just chill out. Don't do it right now. It's just stick with the Jacksonville thing. Because after the OTAs on Friday, when we come back here for the Texans happy hour, because I want to wait and see. I want to wait and see if CJ is going to throw on Friday. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other, whether if he throws or not. I don't need to see it. But there are so many people out here that's, oh my God, why didn't CJ throw on 7-on-7s? Why didn't CJ throw during the 11-on-11s? Why didn't CJ throw during OTAs on Wednesday? Who cares? It's voluntary OTAs. Some of y'all sound just like the Jaguar fans who don't want Travis Hunter to have fun. Oh my God, CJ's not throwing. What's going on? The sky is falling. Ah! Crazy. I'm going to wait because we're going to be there on Friday and I'm going to see. And if, in all honesty, if we keep it at a buck, hold on, let me hit this cup one more time. If we keep it at a buck, I don't want CJ to throw. I'd rather watch the meltdown. I'd rather sit back and get my popcorn ready and watch the show. I'd rather watch these people complain about not seeing CJ throw at 11 on. I'm sorry, at OTAs. I cannot wait. I hope CJ don't throw through I hope we don't get an opportunity to see CJ throw through voluntary OTAs and mandatory minicamp. I hope not, because I like watching some of y'all melt down. I like some of y'all. The only way that you can create the content is to talk about stuff like that when clearly you know that CJ doesn't always have to throw. He's not hurt. He's just not throwing. We didn't see him throw. And I don't understand why sometimes you feel like the Texans organization has to appeal to some of you all. I get it. Hey, look, they don't want us to see CJ throw. I ain't reading into it. Now, if we're in training camp and he's not throwing, then that's an issue. Training camp and he's not throwing, that's an issue. Voluntary OTAs, Mandatory minicamp. I don't give a damn if I don't never see CJ throw one pass in the next 3 weeks. I do not care. Because one, from what I'm being told, he's not injured. He's not hurt. He's just not throwing in front of us, or he hasn't thrown in front of us. I haven't seen Mertz just yet. And so, yeah. So please don't. Hey, some of you Texas fans, stop acting like these Jacksonville Jaguar fans. Just enjoy it for right now. Just enjoy it. Hold on. A 2-year vet, a 2-year starter not throwing a voluntary OTA. That's such a big deal, though. So I know, right? The sky is falling. The sky is falling. CJ didn't throw and voluntary OTAs. Ah, yeah. Let me get into hold on. Let me get into some of these before I jump into what's up, Tay? Hold on. As long as she's treating him right, I think it should be beneficial to him. He's talking about Travis Hunter's wife. Hey man, I just want to know, do you Sarge know what a hey bro, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Well, technically, I mean semantically speaking, I started in the 70s, then I lived through the 80s, then I lived through the 90s. So yes. I knew what that was before you was born, AD. The Jacksonville dumpster fires. Tell us what you think. Jake Andrews. Do I know who Jake Andrews is? Who is Jake Andrews? What's up, Alexis? Something in that Florida water. We swept their front door last year. Talking about Jacksonville, right? Travis Hunter is a super kid. I'm a fan. Yep. Colorado is more relevant than them. Yes, CJ's a vet now. They don't want him to have fun because they aren't used to positivity and high morale around that franchise. Exactly. Part-time fans, they don't know football. Certified Texan, what's going on? How you doing out there? Cased over tight end number 1, right? He should be. He has the higher upside when it comes to blocking. I'm going to put that down here. Cade Stover. When I get back to that, Vega, hold on, let me make sure that I write your name. The Vega 702, we will discuss that after this OTA week. After Friday, we will discuss that. Maybe Saturday. I think I got 2 football camps that I have to go through. 2 Texans players are having football camps. And so as long as he ain't waiting outside at no more parties into the wee hours of the morning, he'll be fine. Hey, that ain't right. Hey, look, hold on. I got to take a drink on that. So for those of y'all who don't know, he's talking about Travis Hunter they said that Travis Hunter took his girlfriend at the time, who was now his wife, to a party. He sat outside and waited on her to come out. New guy at the center position. Jake Andrews. Where is I don't have my roster. Where's my roster? I think my roster's in there. We'll talk about it. Hold on, let me write that down too. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I was not paying attention to Jake Andrews, but I will tomorrow. Hey, y'all make sure y'all follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, so that I can drop your questions and what you want me to look for at OTAs on Friday, and I'll do my best to okay. I know who he is. I wasn't paying attention. I tell you, I'm not putting that up there. Yes. All right. So y'all got to jump into this for my wife come home, because she's gonna be hungry. We got to run an errand before that. So, all right. So once again, you tune into the Texans Happy Hour. Make sure you subscribe to the Texans Tailgate Talk, all one word, podcast and YouTube channel. This happy hour, we're just now that we've gotten past that, I wanted to focus on something. There was something that I really wanted to focus on, and this is it.
Man,
both of the whole rookie receivers, man, the type of guys we got bringing in, man, it's playmakers, man. And it's an honor to share the field with them, and it's only right we go out here and just get each other better, learn from each other, man, and talk to each other, on the route they see, anything they need to work on, man. I'm here for them to lean on, and I'm here to learn from him as well, what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the only way you can improve on your game, just having an open mindset and being a book, just being a learner, so.
Nico, last year coming into like OTA's minicamp, training camp, you still there. Stephon Diggs, who had been in the league for a while, who's still in the league rather, had that aura still about that number one wide receiver. Now it's clear that you are the true number one wide receiver here for the Houston Texans. How did that make you feel in that leadership role?
It was crazy, man, but it's also a blessing. It shows you that time flies, but it's a blessing to be in this position. There's a lot of guys, that's looking up to me. So it's only right for me to go in and do my best work. It's only for me to go in and be 1%. Be better than I was yesterday. Be the great leader, be the guy that everybody's looking up to for me to be. So it's only right I come out here, man, and get better every single day, and that's my goal.
So you all remember, I want to say about a week or two ago, and the video is still available. The show that I did, the video is still available on the Texas Tailgate Talk YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. And I said that it's time for one player to step up and be the captain of the room, right? And I was talking about Titus Howard, who we will discuss later on next week. I was talking about Titus Howard and how he needs to step up and he needs to have that C on his chest. But one player that I brought up during that, and I said that it's a given, was Nico Collins. And I said that he has earned, even before he gets into training camp, even before he plays in one preseason game, before he plays in one regular season game, I feel and I believe that that Nico Collins has earned that C on his chest, and that's come a long way. He's come a long way. There was a lot of people who didn't believe in Nico Collins. And right before they hired D'Amico Ryans, so this is what, 3 years ago, right before they hired D'Amico Ryans, right before they drafted CJ Stroud, you remember he finished his second year on the injured reserve. And when he was on the injured reserve, he ended the season on the injured reserve. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. He told me, "Hey, Sarge," standing right there at his locker, he said, "Sarge, next year, I'm going to show him." And then that following year, he showed him. The following year, he was very productive. And then going into the second year, which is the reason why I asked him the question. You know what? I'm going to play this one more time for you all. And who he's talking about at first is Jaden Higgins and the rest of the wide receivers. But listen to the question that I asked him, and then we're going to talk about that in just a second.
Man, both of the whole rookie receivers, man, the type of guys we got bringing in, man, it's playmakers, man. And it's an honor to share the field with them, and it's only right we go out here and just get each other better, learn from each other, man, and talk to each other, on the route they see, anything they need to work on, man. I'm here for them to lean on, and I'm here to learn from him as well, what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the only way you can improve on your game, just having an open mindset and being a book, just being a learner, so.
Nico, last year coming into like OTA's minicamp, training camp, you still there. Stephon Diggs, who had been in the league for a while, who's still in the league rather, had that aura still about that number one wide receiver. Now it's clear that you are the true number one wide receiver here for the Houston Texans. How did that make you feel in that leadership role?
It was crazy, man, but it's also a blessing. It shows you that time flies, but it's a blessing to be in this position. There's a lot of guys, that's looking up to me. So it's only right for me to go in and do my best work. It's only for me to go in and be 1%. Be better than I was yesterday. Be the great leader, be the guy that everybody's looking up to for me to be. So it's only right I come out here, man, and get better every single day, and that's my goal.
So you heard what he said, and the reason why I asked him that question is because Nico is the true number one wide receiver now. He's definitely the number one wide receiver. And last year, there was a lot of flip-flopping on, hey, is Nico the number one wide receiver, or is Stephon Diggs still a number one wide receiver? Is Stephon Diggs still that number one wide receiver? What's up, Texas Tangent? Is Nico a number one, true number one, going into Going into his second year with CJ Stroud. Was the year prior a fluke? Is he really ready to take on that number one role, or will we see Stephon Diggs take over that role and be the number one wide receiver for CJ Stroud? And so there was this middle ground. What's up, DQ? There was this middle ground that was, is Nico or is it Stephon? Is it Nico or is it Stephon? And of course, when Stephon Diggs first got here, he deferred to Nico. And I remember talking to him, I think it was after, and I'm talking about Stephon Diggs. I remember talking to him maybe after week 4, week 5. I don't know. I can't remember which week it was. I got to go back and look because Nico was balling out. And I said, how much have you attributed to Nico's growth? He said, I ain't done nothing. He said that he is who he is on his own. And Nico is, he said, I haven't seen too many other wide receivers, and there aren't too many wide receivers in this league right now that is better than Nico. He said he reminds me of Julio Jones. And it's crazy because one of the wide receivers that Nico looked up to growing up, because we know Nico's from Alabama, but one of the wide receivers that Nico has always looked up to and patterned his game around was Julio Jones. Side note, hey, Julio, I need you to respond to my DM, man. I'm going to keep bothering you until you either block me or respond. I'll tell you all about that later on in the season. But so now we're looking, right? We're looking. And even in the first day of OTAs, you see Nico is, of course, the first one in the drills. He's the first one in the drills. And you could just see the other wide receivers just gravitate to him. You still got Hutchinson that gravitates to him. Mechie gravitates to him. The rookies and Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, they gravitate to him. Where's the Daniel Jackson, who is an undrafted free agent from out of Minnesota, Jared Wayne, like they gravitate to Nico and they watch his every move. And Nico knows that now. Nico knows that he is one of those guys. He knows that he's about to take that next level. If he can stay healthy, he's about to go to that next level. And we've said this on numerous occasions that if he stays healthy, last season, if he doesn't miss 5 games, Nico Collins is a all-pro wide receiver. He would have made all-pro if he'd have stuck to that trajectory that he was on as far as what he had done within the first 5 weeks of the season, leading the NFL in receiving yards. And so now when I say that Nico is the big vet, Nico is the big vet. That's why when he's asked about these other wide receivers, when he's asked about these rookie wide receivers, and you notice he compliments them, and then he also says, but it's my job. And it is. It's his job. Nico's going to get a C on his chest this year. Hands down. Listen, I don't know I don't know what the vote is. They haven't even voted for team captains yet. I don't have any insight or any intel, but I'm just based off of what I've seen over the last 2 seasons. When it comes to Nico Collins, he's going to get that C on his chest, and that's well deserved. And Nico, let me tell you all something. Nico isn't a rah-rah guy. So if you're looking for him, if once he gets that C on his chest, you think that he's going to be this loud and this vocal guy. He's not. He's not vocal like that when it comes to talking in the media and being this rah-rah guy. He's just going to talk to you, give you the answers. But when you go around and you talk to the other players on the team, they have so much respect for Nico. And the way that he's building his resume and the way that him and CJ Stroud are on the same page, he's letting a lot of the work do the talk. I'm glad AJ80 stuck around. You can tell he helps Nico's growth. Yeah. Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson is one of those ones who looks at Nico and talks with Nico as well. And I don't know, as far as the pointers or the tips are concerned, I haven't, gotten into that. Maybe I'll ask, and when training camp starts, I'll get an opportunity to speak with Nico a little bit more, because Nico is one of the guys that I will say talks with me on a consistent basis. I talk to Nico all the time in the locker room, on the record and off the record. And so I'm going to ask him about how, and I'm going to ask him on the record about Andre Johnson. That way that I can give it to you all, because I can't give y'all our off the record conversations. And so, but another thing, and you all seen me put this out on Wednesday. One thing that I liked that Nico said was how Derek Stingley is helping him as well. And if he goes up against the best in practice, not only him, but against Kamari Lassiter as well, that's only going to make him better when it's time to step on the field. And so when you're watching what Nico Collins does, when you're watching him, the way that he prepares himself for games, the way that he prepares himself, to play week in and week out, when he, even right now. And like I said, they've been around, these young wide receivers have been around Nico for a while now. We're just now getting into voluntary OTA, so we're getting an opportunity to see them be around him. But we're getting the opportunity to see these younger wide receivers be around him. But I already know the impact that Nico Collins has had. Even so, did I share this with you all? I may not have shared this with you all, but I'm gonna share it with you now. So one day we were in the locker room, right? One day we're in the locker room, and we're just talking to different people. If I'm not mistaken, we probably were waiting on Joe Mixon so we could talk to Joe Mixon at his locker. And so while people were waiting on Joe Mixon, Robert Woods, who I'm going to miss, I'm going to be honest with you, former Houston Texans wide receiver Robert Woods, because even though his skill set has started to diminish a little bit, because he's been in the league for a long time, he's dealt with some injuries as well, but he has a sharp mind. He has a sharp wide receiver mind. And so he's one of the people that DJ Bieneme, who covers the Houston Texans for ESPN, there aren't too many people that can match his wits. And I've heard, some of the players talk about how smart he is when it comes to being able to break down coverages, to watching different types of things. And so him and Robert Woods would talk all the time, and I would try to stand around just to listen, to hear them break down different things. But I was talking to Robert Woods, and I'm just talking to him, right? We just having a casual conversation, and Nico walks in. And so when Nico walks in, I immediately turn to Robert Woods, and I immediately turned to Robert Woods, and I said, what is it about him? What is it about him that makes him so good? I said, from a wide receiver's perspective, what is it that makes him so good? He said, it isn't that he is big. It isn't that he's strong, because he's big and he's strong, and he can run good routes, and he has good hands, and he's physical at the point of attack, and he doesn't do anything but get better when he's down the field. It's like he said he does some of his best work as the route develops. He says, and all that is great. Him being big, strong, physical, getting better as he goes through his routes and the routes that he's running. He said all that is great. He said, but when you look at a player and a wide receiver like Nico Collins, he said the thing that stands out and the things that make great wide receivers, he said the thing that makes these great wide receivers like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and other players, other wide receivers like that. He said what makes them, he's a CeeDee Lamb. He said what makes them so good is by the time the ball is snapped, they've already mentally beat you. They've already mentally beat the defensive back, because not just because they know that the route that they're running, they know that what the play is. He said, but when Nico steps to the line and he looks across, when Nico steps to the line and he looks across and he sees the defensive back, one, he's already studied the habits and the tendencies of that defensive back. So he knows how he can beat that defensive back right off the line. Two, he knows where he's going and where he's trying to get to. And so he knows as soon as he looks and he sees who it is, he looks at the coverage, he starts to pick out his spots. He said, and all of this is before the ball is even snapped. He starts to pick out his spots, knowing the weaknesses of the defense, where he can get to, where he needs to be for CJ to get him the ball, where he needs to be in order to move the chains, in order to score. He said, and then you take that mindset and that mentality and you add all of that into his physical attributes, and now you have a complete wide receiver. He said, and that's what makes him so good. And I said, man. And so I never talked to Nico about that. I had never talked to wide receiver coach Ben McDaniels about that. I hadn't talked to Stephon Diggs. I hadn't talked to Tank Dell. None of them about that. And I think that Robert Woods was the only person who probably could have given me that answer. And it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense about how, about who Nico Collins is. And so now I'm ready to see him take that next step. I'm ready for him to be mentioned consistently in the likes of Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and, aforementioned Brian Thomas Jr., who is going to be very good from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Malik Neighbors who plays for the New York Giants, if I'm not mistaken. Can somebody make sure they fact check me on that? But Malik Neighbors up in New York, those are the guys that's that next wave. But I think that if Nico stays on this trajectory, and depending on what type of offense that Nick Haley is going to call, and if he's going to put him in the right positions, like Sean McVay put Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, if he's going to put him in those type of situations for him to be successful, because he does have what I believe is a future top 5 NFL quarterback in CJ Stroud, you're going to see. And now you want that type of person. You want Nico Collins leading your Jaden Higgins. You want him leading your Jalen Noel. You want him leading Tank Dell when he comes back. You want him to help Xavier Hutchinson take that next step. No matter if Daniel Jackson makes the team or not, you want Nico to leave that impression on him, knowing and showing him what he needs to do to go to that next team as, undrafted free agent. But Nico has positioned himself, to me, coming into this season as a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. And that has a lot to do with the fact that he has become the big vet. He's the big vet. Like, there's no possible way that you can mention the Houston Texans, period. And I'm talking about offensively and defensive. There's no way that you can mention the Houston Texans and not throw Nico Collins' name in there when you're talking about CJ Stroud, when you're talking about Will Anderson Jr., when you're talking about Joe Mixon, when you're talking about the Derek Stingley Jr.'s, when you're talking about the Kamari Lassiters and Kalen Bullock, that young talent that's coming up, when you're talking about Aziz, when you're talking about Danielle Hunter, like, you cannot remove Nico Collins from that conversation. Like, if Nico Collins isn't one of the first 5 Texans you mentioned as far as the best players on the Houston Texans team, then I'm going to question you about, do you really know the Houston Texans? If he's not mentioned in that top 5, hell, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he should be 4. If I'm talking about the Houston Texans, right? First people I'm going to talk about: CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Derek Stingley Jr., Nico Collins. That's it right there. And if you're not mentioning him in that top 5, then I don't even know if you know ball. If you're not mentioning Nico Collins within the top 5 of the Houston Texans currently on their current roster, I don't know if you know ball. And if you don't mention him heading into the 2025 NFL season as one of the top seven, and I have him as a top 5 wide receiver. That's just me. But if you're not putting him in at least the top 7, then what are we doing here? Like at that point, I was like, hey, I don't want to talk about this. Like, so teach me the rules and the regulations of pickleball. Because there's nothing else that you could tell me. There's nothing that you could tell me if you're not mentioning Nico Collins and the impact that wait, let me get my yak on late. What's up, Sean? The impact that Nico Collins has on this team, the respect that he's garnered and he's earned, not just for off the field, but his production on the field, and the way that he is the leading voice in that wide receiver room. That's what he is. And so that's why the title of this is Nico is the Big Vet. All right, y'all. I got to get ready to get up out of here. I heard my wife walk through the door. I'm pretty sure she's hungry, and I got to get up out of here. Not too complicated. I will answer that on Friday's episode of the Texans Tailgate Talk and the Texans Happy Hour. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Texans Tailgate Talk, all one word, Texans Tailgate Talk. And make sure you are subscribed to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast, available wherever you get your podcast from. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, because you know we do everything for the gram. Friday, the Houston Texans will have media availability for their OTAs, and you know, make sure that you'll follow me on at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end on the app formerly known as Twitter, so I can give you all live, up to the minute updates. Because I got to see if this Woody Marks thing is real. I got to see if that was just a fluke on day one. I got to see if Woody Marks is real. All right, y'all. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge.